We are learning Mishnah Yevamos, Perik Beis, Mishnah Daled, Chapter 2, Mishnah 4. Before we begin, today's day of learning is sponsored by Harold Zazula for the yard site of his maternal grandfather, Mordechai ben Yaakov, whose yard site again is today. The Neshama Shav and Aliyah.
Amen.
Okay, Mishnah Daled. So Mishnah Daled is, we in yesterday's Mishnah, the Mishnah started off with a rule about if, let's say, the woman who falls to you for Yibum is an erva, then there's no Yibum or Chalitza. Then the Mishnah said if she's forbidden to you because she's called a Isser Mitzvah, she's Usser because of a Mitzvah, which we explained means that this refers to the rabbinic arayas. The Torah in Parshas Achrei Mos tells us of all the forbidden marriages, either due to blood relationship or through marriage. Anybody who cohabits with such a woman, both he and the woman are going to be liable to some kind of death punishment. And in that situation, if she falls to you for Yibum, there is no connection of Yibum whatsoever. She doesn't need Yibum, she needs Chalitza, that she or her co-wife. And the next, I'm sorry, that was Shnerva. The next thing the Mishnah mentioned was Isser Mitzvah. That if, let's say, she is Usser because of Mitzvah, so then she will not have Yibum because she's forbidden to marry. However, there still will be Chalitza because there is still a connection to Yibum. So the Mishnah says, Isser Mitzvah. What do we mean before when we said an Isser Mitzvah, she's forbidden because of a Mitzvah, that there the rule is that she has Chalitza but no Yibum? The answer is, Shniyos v'divrei Seifrim. The secondary erva relatives that are forbidden by the sages. The Torah has its forbidden relatives, and then the sages added to that. The sages added, the number is 20. 20 more relatives that are forbidden. You want to go through all of them? I'm not. Okay, I'm not going through all of them right now. We have a hard enough time figuring out all the relatives for the mission that we need. We don't need to go through all the relatives right now. If you're interested in all the relatives, you can look in the Art Scroll Mishnah Elucidated, the copy of the Shuls, and you can see all 20 of them. But the point is that since they are forbidden to marry, according to rabbinic law, there is still a Yibum bond between you and that woman, between the brother of that woman, and therefore she needs Chalitza to be free, but the performance of Yibum cannot be done because it's forbidden to marry her. So that's the first part of the Mishnah. The next part of the Mishnah, Isser Kedusha, something that is a woman that's Usser in order to protect or to maintain the sanctity of the Kahuna. There also the halacha was such a woman is going to need Chalitza, but no Yibum can be done on her. So what are those examples? What are those examples of women who are prohibited in order to maintain the Kedusha and the sanctity of a Kohen? So here's the case. Almana l'Kohen Gadol, two brothers, Kohanim. One is a Kohen Hedya, one's a regular Kohen, one's a Kohen Gadol, one's the high priest, one's the Kohen Gadol. The brother, the regular Kohen brother, dies. His wife should be falls to Yibum to his brother. But a Kohen Gadol can't marry an almana, can't marry a widow. So that's an example where it's actually, again, it's a Torah prohibition, but it's a lav, it's a prohibition. Were a Kohen Gadol to marry an almana, it wouldn't carry any kind of death punishment. And therefore, it's not an erva, and therefore we say in that case, she's not scot-free, she needs Chalitza to be free, but no Yibum can be done. Another example, Grusha v'chalutza l'kohen hedye. Let's say a Kohen married a divorcee or a woman who had Chalitza done to her. Was he allowed to marry her? Absolutely not. But he did it anyway. And the halacha is that when you make Kedushin on a woman who is only prohibited to you because of a prohibition, there's no death punishment involved. If you do Kedushin on her, right? You do Kedushin, give her the ring, and marry her, she's married to you. She's 100% married. You're not allowed to be married to her, but she is married. She's a married woman. So now, if that brother who's a Kohen dies, and now that divorcee or Chalutza falls to his brother's a Kohen, so again, you can't do Yibum, but there is the Chalitza bond because they were married. Okay, now the next example is not about the Kahuna. It's another example of where you have an issue of a prohibition of a lav. And that is Mamizeres Unasina Liyisrael. A situation of a female mamzer or a nesina even to a Yisrael. Okay, so first of all, what would be the case there? The case of there would be that, let's say, well, I guess it really could be, I don't know why I have to say this. In number 6, they explain, that is, if the deceased brother was improperly married to a mamzeres or an asina, the living brother performs chalitza so she can marry others. Okay, so a mamzer is a child that is born from a union that carries a punishment of death with it, whether it be karis, whether it be misa, whether it be capital punishment, any kind of child born from a union that would carry with it a punishment of death, in whatever form, the halacha is that child is a mamzer. It happens to be that in the case of that child is a mamzer. Okay, so now a mamzer or mamzeres, right, male or female, cannot marry a person with proper lineage, with regular Jewish lineage. A nesina is the following. Let me read to you here from the way they explain in the notes. The nesinim are the descendants of the Gevonim, a Canaanite group that tricked Yehoshua into allowing them to convert to Judaism during the conquest of Eretz Yisrael. They were Canaanim, they were Canaanites. They should have been wiped out. So they disguised themselves as foreigners, coming to Yehoshua to convert, and he converted them. When he discovered their deceit, Yehoshua designated them as woodcutters and water carriers for the temple. Okay, they were now basically turned into slaves. Now, at the same time, there was also now a prohibition that was made. Let me just read now. Some say that their descendants were forbidden by biblical law, and others say that they're permitted by biblical law, but Yeshua forbade them. Meaning, according to, I think typically, some say that it's a Torah prohibition to marry them, others say it's a rabbinic prohibition. But at the end of the day, if the woman comes from that group of people, and she falls to you for Yibam, the halacha is going to be that you're going to have to do chalitza, but you're not going to do Yibam. If a person is not allowed to marry a mamzeres, but if he does kedushin on a mamzeres, it counts. She's married to him. So if, let's say, the case is the brother married a mamzeres or an asina that he wasn't allowed to, and then she falls to Yibam to the brother. So there's a Yibam bond because the prohibition is only a lav. It's only a prohibition. There's no death penalty carried with it. And therefore, there was a marriage, there's a Yibam bond. You can't marry, you can't do Yibam on her, you have to do Chalitza. And the last case is Bas Yisrael and Asin Mamzer. And this case is where so the case here is like this. It could be, let's say the brother. Let's say the guy has a brother. Let's 1 second. Right. Let's say you have an asin. He's got a brother. He marries a regular Jewish woman. Wasn't supposed to, wasn't allowed to, but did it anyway. There's a marriage there. Now he dies without children. She falls to Yibam to his brother who's an asin. Yeah. So again, there is a marriage there. And the prohibition is only at the most it's a Torah prohibition. It's a lav, right? According to most, I think it's only a rabbinic prohibition. But at the end of the day, so therefore there is a Yibam bond. You gotta give her chalitza. However, you can't do Yibam because she's forbidden to you. Or let's say the situation was where a person had a brother who's a mamzer. He had a brother from his father who was a mamzer. Okay? And then that mamzer married a woman who wasn't a mamzer. He wasn't allowed to, but he did anyway. And now she goes, oh, wait a minute, no. No. The other way. The brother who was married, the brother who died was married, right? He has a brother who is a mamzer. And then that woman now falls to the mamzer for Yibam. So the mamzer can't, so there was a marriage before, and the mamzer here is no prohibition. It's not an erva. It's just a prohibition, no death punishment that comes with it. And therefore there is a Yibam bond, and therefore he has to give her chalitza, but no Yibam can be done. Okay.
And the mother calls her.
Hold on. Okay. Now the Chofetz Chaim continues with the following. Know a very important rule regarding these matters of telling other people about other people's faults, but for what we call to'elas, a constructive purpose. Person wants to bring someone into his business. To hire him to do something, or to bring him in as a partner, or let's say he wants to make a shidduch with him. He's considering, his child for that person's child. The chalkei gavner, anything similar, where you're trying to make a person is trying to get involved with somebody else. Now, even if you haven't heard anything bad about this person, and you're the person who's trying to bring this person into your life in some way or another. And until now, have you heard anything bad about the person? Nope. Everything sounds good. Nonetheless. You are allowed to check this person out in the way that is relevant to how you want to bring them into your life. Even though they can come out revealing to you something negative about the person, nonetheless, it's still permissible. Because your intention of trying to find out the information is for your benefit. So as not to come to any kind of damage or quarreling, and therefore, essentially, it's going to be permissible that you could go ahead and investigate the person, find out about the person, and even then find out something negative about the person. But it won't be considered that you have been getting the other person to speak Lashon Hara, or that you're looking to hear Lashon Hara, because essentially you're trying to do this not to put the person down, but to protect yourself for your own good. But there's more details about that, which we'll continue with. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.